always happens to me, but in a something else, like always something different. Hi.
I feel like technology and me, this is always the name of the game. Hi.
Hi. Well, at least I'm getting service out here, so I thought that was going to be the issue, but of course not.
It was the technology element of it all.
Well, I can't do it all, Erin. I can't do it all.
Listen, you're mastering everything else. It's okay if technology is not the forte, but thank you so much for taking the time to jump on with me, because each and every Wednesday I love to profile, obviously, an incredible woman. And you and I have been friends, besties for many, many years. And I've told you this so many times, how much what you've accomplished has inspired me. So you've really changed the game in the world of Pilates, and it all kind of started with hospitality. So if we can take some time to sort of talk about your story, because I don't know how much people really know what you've been through, and your story is so inspiring. So you really started in hospitality. That was kind of where you started, right?
Right. So before Pilates, I was in hospitality, for probably 10 years. And then I just needed a little break from that world, and I started taking Pilates. I took some time off, which I've never taken time off before. And to fill up my day, I just started working out. I wasn't even into working out before I even started Pilates, and I found Pilates, and it was amazing, and it reminded me of doing ballet when I was younger, and I just really connected with it. And I remember coming home and telling my fiance at the time, I was like, do you think it would be silly if I start, going into a training for this? And he's like, no, I think it's great. Like, he was so supportive from day one. And that was a really big and scary moment for me, because I had this career, I went to college and I studied and I had this amazing career in hospitality, and I wasn't fulfilled. And to switch my career at 29 years old was really scary for me. It was really scary. So I switched up, and he was super supportive. And I think that's really important to have someone on your team and support you in a decision like that, because if he thought it was silly, or he thought I should just go and get another job in hospitality, I probably would have listened to him. So the fact that he was really supportive, I went through all my training, and I just was obsessed with Pilates. If I wasn't doing it 7 days a week, I was thinking of routines, and it was powerful. It changed my life.
Well, and I love that you give credit to your amazing husband, Mike, because Mike also a guy that I feel like has taken leaps with his own career. And to have somebody believe in you just amplifies it all. And you working in hospitality and then sort of pivoting into the world of Pilates seemed like the great marriage, if you will, because you trained in Beverly Hills and Bel Air. So you were training a really important group of people in that they really knew Pilates. So you had to sort of learn quickly and build a client base. But then you talk about scary, because you were 29, totally shifting gears in a completely different world. You then decided to even more scary, create your own, branch out on your own. What made you kind of think that you could do that? Because I think that that's unique.
The first class I ever taught, I was so nervous. My voice was shaking. I wasn't very confident in my routine and how I was teaching. And it didn't take me long. Like, I would say a few months into teaching, I got the hang of it, and I wasn't scared anymore. It didn't make me nervous. It was almost like being in school and having to do a speech, and you were just so nervous to stand up. That probably never happened to you, because this is your field. But for me, I was so nervous. And then once I got the hang of it, and I'm like, oh, people are coming to my class. People are requesting me. My classes are getting full. They're getting waitlisted. I knew whatever I was doing and how I was teaching, because it's never just about the material, right? Like, everyone can learn Pilates. Everyone, can teach it. But it's also the personality. It's also about how you make that person feel. And I think from so many years in hospitality, I just knew how to treat clients. I knew how to treat people. And I think I just took everything that I learned in hospitality and put it into Pilates, and it really made my classes special, I think. And After teaching for a little while, I started getting private clients at their home. So I was driving all around Los Angeles, going from this person's house to this person's house. And then I realized, at the end of the day, people were coming for me. So my classes were getting booked and waitlisted because they were coming for me and my workout. And then once I started getting my own clients, and I realized, I was like, you know what, I can do this on my own. So I think I'm going to do that. So my husband and I, we bought our house, and I saw a guest house. I didn't even care about the house. I was like, this is where I'm starting my business. And my husband's like, but don't you like the house? I'm like, it's fine. But honestly, this is a perfect setup for my business. I'm going to get started. So we bought our house in January, and I basically bought 3 machines. I had no idea if I was going to be able to fill those. And I turned my guest house into a little tiny studio with 3 reformers. And I was like, all right, fingers crossed, I can do this. Here I am going to everyone's house, but I was like, why can't everyone come to me? And so I basically taught my first client in March, 2 months after we moved into our house. And the rest is kind of history. That's where it all started.
Well, and that's what I think this conversation is. It's like the great pivot, because you were so fearless in going, you know what, I love that this is a space. Because now, how many reformers do you have? You went from 3 to how many?
So my guest house was attached to my garage, and one day, about a year into teaching, I was just so full and waitlisted again, and I told Mike, I was like, listen, you're gonna have to park outside. I'm taking over the garage. And he's like, you're being crazy. I go, I'm doing this with or without you, so this is what I'm doing. And I remodeled everything. I opened everything up. That took about 2 months. And then I had 6 reformers. And even that change for me was scary, because then I thought, am I going to be able to fill 6 machines? Like, am I getting too over my head? I'm going to spend all this money in construction and remodeling and buying these expensive machines. I'm like, can I do this? And a week or 2 into it, it was boom, all full. And it was just this amazing little place.
Sure. Chatting with Amanda Kassar of Pilates by Amanda and Core Club. There is so much with you and your story that is so inspiring to me, that, like I said, this is a conversation that's about the great pivot, and like how you fearlessly believed in yourself. And of course you had Mike, your husband, to support you. But really, at the end of the day, you believed that you could do it. And you started off just as a Pilates instructor. You started with 3 reformers, and now look at you. And what I found, and why I've been wanting to get you on for so long, and thank you for taking the time, because I know you're so busy, the great pivot. You were a Pilates instructor, which required you to be in person, and then COVID hit. And then you needed to sort of re-navigate what you were going to do, because you weren't training people in person. You didn't want to see, you didn't want to get too close. Yeah. I know your parents, you're very close to your parents, also named Bob and Linda. Shout out to mom and dad. But then, can you talk to us a little bit about this pivot that you did? Because you really, the pandemic in so many ways was actually a great thing for you. How so?
The pandemic was really scary. I'm very fearful of the unknown, and I remember I was sitting there on a Sunday night. We just got news that everything was shutting down. I was still in disbelief. My clients were texting me, is there class tomorrow? I was like, I think so. I don't know if this is like a big deal. And then once it hit me that it was a big deal, I was like, oh, whoa, my entire business, everything, all those years building up, to a full studio. I started to think, I'm like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Because I'm a mover. I can't sit still. So I went into my studio. I literally took my iPhone. I had Mike hold my iPhone. I had no stand. I didn't have any of those equipment. And I pulled out my mat, and I said to myself, you know what? Maybe this is going to be a 2-week thing. I'm just going to create some videos for my current clients. I never thought anything more than that. So in the 2 weeks that they could keep their bodies and their muscles strong, while we're in this 2-week lockdown.
Right.
So I started creating these videos, all my props. I was actually having fun doing it. But, imagine Mike is holding onto an iPhone, and we're 30 minutes into the workout, and he's looking at me, and he's like, my arm is killing me. And I'm like, shh, don't make a noise. So, like, literally the first video that I launched Mike is holding the phone, trying not to like hurt his arm, and it was just the whole thing was just so hilarious.
That's amazing.
And I mean, at that point, I didn't even know how to upload a video to my computer, and it was a whole thing. So I started selling at the time these like little videos, like 10 videos in a package. And I was like, I don't know if people are gonna buy them. And then boom, people were buying them and posting, and it just started to go crazy. And then I thought, oh my God, we're in this for the long run. I'm going to create more videos and I'm going to call it a series on location. And I just kept going and going and going. And I didn't even have time to think. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I have to shut down my studio. What am I going to do? My whole business collapsed in 2 seconds. So I started doing these videos. And I think that just kind of started my app. You know, it just, at the time, people were working out at home where that people didn't really work out at home. You know, like if I tried to start this business a year prior, I don't think it would have been successful because people weren't working out at home as much. So here I was taking all of my reformer routines in my mind, and I said, how do I make the same routine on a mat? How can I do this?
Wow.
So I started pulling out props, and honestly, in my videos, it feels like you're on the reformer, and you get the same burn, the same workout. To me, honestly, it was so hard doing the mat workouts. And it was just exciting. It was something new. And that's what I love about Pilates. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It can be something new and exciting. You know, like I never taught mat, classes. I went right to reformer. So here I was learning it all over again. And that was really amazing because once I fell in love with the mat, just like the reformer, I was like, how do I tell people about this? People need to see how amazing the mat is and how easy it is to be at home, be on vacation. You can do it anywhere. You don't need that machine. You don't have to wait for a class. And so, long story short, a few months of doing videos and people posting all over the world, it was such a great feeling. I couldn't believe it happened. I was really shocked. I then started to develop my app, which took about 6 to 9 months to kind of get everything together. And then January 2021, my app launched, Core Club Pilates. And so that has it has about 140 videos ranging from beginner to postnatal to advanced classes, all different types of props. And
and here you are. Well, and that's what's so absolutely amazing as someone who is on the outside and watched you just completely flourish, because you were always so good in every career you've ever, and you're all, obviously like an amazing friend. But what's interesting was Mike, you thought he was going to just videotape for a couple of weeks because you're like, I need to give my clients, because you work in hospitality and you're always thinking about your clients, I need to give them something to hold them over for a couple of weeks since, we're going to be out of this pretty soon, because we really had no idea we were going to be 2 years later still dealing with the same thing. And then you really realized, because the other thing that's very interesting for people that may not be familiar with Pilates, you exclusively taught it obviously on a reformer. So you're thinking, how am I going to not only give my clients that are so dependent on you, and you train like the best of the best, like you train celebrities, very high powered women that are looking to you for that, and you're like, how can I figure out how to give them what they need while we're in this incubation period, if you will. And then to teach it without a reformer, you really had to go to the archive and get creative.
Oh, I was pulling chairs out, wrapping bands around, using the ball. I mean, I literally, even my current clients, I'll have them go through my whole program on the app, and they come to me each time and they're like, Amanda, I feel like I'm on the reformer. Like, it doesn't move, but I feel exactly like your routines, and it's so good. And that's what's amazing. I want to tell people about it, that you can still get my workout, that same intensity on the mat, which is great.
Yeah. And from anywhere, you can be in the south of France and get a nice workout in, which is great, because that's what we all had to adapt to, was remote living, if you will. We needed to work from home.
My husband and I travel all the time, and we just went to Italy a few months ago, and I was like, you know what? I would always go to the gym and try to pretend like I know how some of these machines worked, and then I'd have to count the reps in my head, which is like I would try to go for an hour and I was there for an hour and a half, like just wasted time. So instead, I literally brought my bands and ball that I've created, my core club band and balls, and I put on my app. I did a 30-minute workout in the gym while Mike was on the treadmill, and I was like, wow, that was so intense and so good. I didn't waste any time. I didn't have to think about it. And now I'm ready to go out for dinner and, you know, have a little bit of movement on my trip. And it was so easy and amazing. So
I love that. I love that. There's so much to get to with you. Like, it's crazy. We've already talked for like, I need another 10 minutes. I hope that that's okay.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about Organic Orin, which is a food delivery service that really just started really for your clients. How did you come up with this? Because this was your idea, right?
Yes. So Organic Orin is an organic meal delivery service in Los Angeles, and we're actually delivering to the Montecito area and Laguna Beach recently, which is amazing. So it all got started, I have a very close relationship with all my clients. The one thing about me, I'm never trying to get as many people in as possible. That's never been my model for, my reformer classes. I build a relationship with someone. I figure out their goals. I try to figure out what do they need from me? How can I help them? And that goes back to hospitality. Again, it's not just the workout. It's how do I make you feel when you come in here? How do you feel when you leave? What are you eating? How are we complementing my workout to get you to your goals? And every single client would always ask me, Amanda, what should I eat? Where should I go? All these questions. And so I had a very good friend, Erin, and he was private chefing at the time, and he was only cooking really healthy, organic, vegan, not just vegan, but mostly vegan meals. And I said, you know what? I have this chef. If you're interested, he can come to your house, cook for you, set up your meals for the week. And so that started with a couple of my clients. And I just gave Erin to I gave my clients to Erin, and he did a really great job, and my clients loved the food, and they were so happy with the results from my workout and Erin. And then it hit me. I said, Erin, how can we make this bigger? And he goes, no, this is perfect. Like, I'm working 4 days a week. I love these clients. Everyone's so nice. I was like, no, but we could reach more people in my studio, if we create some sort of program for them. And at first he was a little apprehensive about the idea. It's scary, right? These crazy ideas. How do you get past the fear to actually make it happen? And I said to him, I was like, listen, I have a feeling this is going to be great. And I think that you can really help more of my clients if we just change your business model a little bit. Would you be interested in partnering with me? Because at the time I just sent my clients to him, and I wanted my clients to have a great, meal prep person. And so we sat there, and he said, okay, I think this is a great idea. We'll start with the soups and then the juices and then these lunches. And so Organic Orin started January 2020, so 3 months before the pandemic. And he went from private chefing to now servicing most of my clients in my studio. So Monday, everyone would come in for a workout. They would pick up their lunches for the week. And that was our business model then, lunches and soups, because most people that I trained went out to dinner a few days a week. So they didn't really need dinner and lunch and breakfast, right? So at the time it was cute. We were selling soup cleanses and little meals here and there. And it was nice. It was started out of my home, and then, we were servicing 5 people, then 10, then 15, and then boom, pandemic hits, right? And we're like, what are we going to do? People aren't going to work right now. They don't want lunches. People are scared to go to the grocery store. How do we pivot Organic Orin that we just started? We have to pivot. There's no other choice. So while I'm pivoting Reformer to Matt, I said to Erin, I was like, listen, we gotta do meals. We have to stop the lunches because no one's doing lunches. And so that was scary for us. We've never done a full meal plan with breakfast and lunch and dinner. And so we thought about a meal plan, and we agreed upon it. And boom, we changed our business model right away. We're no longer doing lunches, we're doing full meals. And it was so busy, Erin. It was just, timing was perfect. People wanted healthy, organic, homemade food without having to go to the grocery store, and we were able to provide that for them. So again, something that started so small, 10 people, 15, 20, 30, a couple months go by, it's 50, 60, and we're all sitting here like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And that was a really special thing that happened. It really opened my eyes to be able to combine the hospitality that I spent so many of my years doing, into Pilates, into food. I'm like, whoa, everything that I've ever like dreamt about is actually coming to fruition, and it's incredible. And it wasn't a plan, and that's what I want to tell people. Like, this wasn't the plan. It just happened, and it was timing, and it was pivoting. It wasn't sitting there and thinking about it for a long time. It was just go. You didn't have time to think. I had to service my clients. I had to be there for them. And whether that was in the Pilates and fitness world or food, I knew that we couldn't say no. We had to do it.
Well, and there's so much good stuff in what you just said, because, you're servicing busy women and they want convenience because they're busy working. And you said something I dreamed of. Well, it didn't even seem like you could even foster this dream, because how could you know? This was all just things that happened in the present, that you made decisions in terms of problem solving and finding ways to still service, to still be hospitable to a very devout clientele that you have that absolutely loves and is so devout and loyal to you. And then the other thing that you said, because like this is the great pivot. You went from reformer to mat to just servicing lunch to then now full course meals. Like, you have vegan options, you have a kids menu now. I was checking it. You have different colored, you have like colored juices, and then a variety of green juices. It is such a full on meal delivery service of clean, good eating, which is something that I think people are starting to prioritize nowadays. During the pandemic, they want clean food, they want convenience. And then the last thing that I thought was really fascinating that you said, which I think for women tuning in now that look to you, myself included, is how do you get past the fear? Because that's what you said. How do you get past the fear when you have a kernel of an idea?
For me, I think it's just a survival instinct in me that it has to be almost that breaking point where I'm choosing yes or no. And the answer is so clear to me. Like, I'll see something and I'll say, this is going to work, or no, this is not going to work. A few months ago, I thought, am I going to open up a core club studio somewhere? Am I going to actually get a space? And I looked at spaces all around my area, LA, and I looked at every spot, and I just had this feeling. I was like, no, it's not right. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I don't know if it's timing or whatever, but it's not right now. And I'm so glad I didn't do that, because here we are again, almost that second wave of the pandemic. And, trying to open a studio where multiple people are coming in and sweating indoors, that part is still a little, people, for me, I don't want to work out like that right now. So I just think the timing wasn't right. And I'm now months later, I'm like, I'm so glad I made that decision. It wasn't right at the time. So I'm just going by instinct. I'm going by that survival mode that I have in me. And I don't have time to think. I just do.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have a really great relationship with your own gut and clarity, which is something I kind of struggle with, because I marinate on a decision, and I hate that I do that, because there's blockage there. And I think that your ability to kind of just make the decision and go full force, and I've seen you do that in every career you've dominated. And it is so inspiring and motivating, all of the things. I only have a certain amount of time with you. I know you're busy. But first and foremost, what does 2022 look like for you?
I was thinking about it just a few days ago, because we're, coming to the end. And I always think, especially after this pandemic had happened, but even before, like going from training people at their homes to having 3 reformers to then 6 to then starting the app to then, there's so many different things. I think that if you're always evolving, if you're always adding something new, a different element to keep people excited. And for me too, if I kept teaching on three machines forever,
right,
like am I going to be stale in that? You know, how do I get inspired? I also need to get inspired so I can inspire others. And, you know, for 2022, for the app specifically, you know, I'm planning on adding reformer classes to that, which will be really great for people that have reformers or bought reformers during the pandemic, or even teachers out there that want to learn my method and how I do things, and maybe just inspire others to get certified and teach. So that will be part of Core Club. And for Organic Orin, you know, we are hoping to just expand it to other cities and start a food line product and, you know, just keep it going, even if it's something small. Like even when we started the juices, it was in the summertime. I'm like, we got to start juices right now. And they're like, right now? I was like, next week, we got to launch juices like ASAP. So it's kind of one of those things where I'll feel like something needs to change or something needs to be done, and we just do it.
I love that. I love that so much. And that's why I think, you know, people like being in your orbit, because Organic Orin could have just been a private chef, like you said, 4 days a week, and not the expansion that it is today, providing healthy, clean, good quality meals for so many of us that are busy and may not love cooking so much. And then last but not least, certainly like to end all my female interviews with self-care, because you are so busy taking such good care of everybody. You have a baby at home, you have a husband, you have a very close relationship with your parents and your brother. And where do you make time for self-care for Amanda?
You know, someone told me once that your work shouldn't feel like work. And, you know, when I film for Core Club, I'm getting a workout in, I'm being creative, I'm able to help others. So for me, it's very therapeutic to work out and to also film. So whether I'm working out and not filming, obviously that's therapeutic for me, but also just sitting and being creative on the mat and taking that moment for myself to be able to teach others and be connected with others and work out myself. Working out is so important to me, whether it's a walk, but I don't really love walking all that much. But I love Pilates. Pilates is my baby. Mat, reformer, tower, Cadillac, whatever it is. I love it. I love that there's so many different things that you can do. And for me, you know, I work 8 to 6. I have a 9-month-old baby, so I take a bath every night, and even that 20 minutes that I'm there, it's just a moment for me to just kind of, okay, take a breather. What happened today? What is the plan for tomorrow? And just kind of relax my body a little bit. But definitely working out is my number one self-care.
Well, you just continue to inspire all of us women, and I am so grateful that we actually were able to get you on, because I know how busy you are.
Thank you, Erin.
And enjoy vacay, enjoy the rest of this 2021. It was such a weird year, but I am so proud of all of the things that you continue to accomplish, because you just make everybody around you better. So
thank you, Erin. Love you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Dinner soon, girlfriend. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, babe.